Hey guys, this is Rachel Moore here with Dave Moore from Dave Moore Racing, and we thought that we would sit down and take some time to answer some customer questions for you guys since we've received like a ton over the last couple of weeks. The first question on our list is, what is the biggest bore you have ever created?
I think they meant worked on. So that would be the 535 Sabre that I built for Justin Lawrence like 8 years ago. That is not only the biggest motor that I've ever done, but it is the most powerful motor that I've ever built. We've got hundreds of gallons worth of methanol through that thing, and it just keeps trucking along. We'll have it out there again this year.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a hot topic, but of course, we've received a bunch of, well, can I get a quote on my engine? Can I get a quote on my rebuild? I'd like and you had told Kelsey and I privately that we're not going to be giving out quotes on new builds or rebuilds. Why is that?
Well, because if we have to use donor parts from the customer, there's absolutely no way to know without physically looking at those parts if they are going to be usable. So we can give somebody a super rough estimate, but that's going to be the difference in, let's say we get it and the transmission's no good. Well, now we have to go looking for a transmission. If we did a billet transmission, that's going to add another $1,700, $2,000 to the mix. So without having all the parts to really look at, it's pretty much impossible to say what it's going to cost. I'm going to use as many parts that the customer can supply to me that are in good condition, but we're not going to put any sort of junk inside of the motors.
Yeah, it's too much of a liability for us to
exactly
accept quotes. So while we're on the topic of hot button issues, what do you have to do to get on the list for a Toiger?
So the Toigers, there's only going to be 100 of them ever made. Elaine and I have already talked about this, and there's going to be 100 Toigers made in total. I want this engine to be kind of a unicorn in the future. To get on the list, to even be considered to own one, you have to be some sort of a racer, whether that be pro or amateur in cross country or motocross. You've got to have race wins. You got to be a two-stroke enthusiast, and you're going to have to pass a background check. Because the thing is I mean, if you look at, and I know a lot of people out there are going to be like, oh, well, he thinks he's Ferrari. Okay, well, the Enzo Ferrari, to own an Enzo Ferrari, you have to have owned the F30, the F40, and the F50 before you're even considered to own an Enzo. Okay, so this is my Enzo Ferrari. The cylinder is something that I've dreamed about ever since before you guys were born, is being able to actually design and build my own cylinder, and this wouldn't have come about if it hadn't been for the immense help that Elaine Paulette from CP Industries has given me. I mean, she basically has allowed me to have free reign on this thing, and anytime I asked for a change or a modification, she was right there with it. So Elaine and I have known each other for a good many years, and I consider her to be one of my best friends. But that really is the Toiger means something to me, and like I said, I'd rather never sell one or never sell any of them than to sell one to the wrong person. So yeah, if you want one, you got to be the type of a person that I would like to see have one.
I think you missed that part. We talked about the sacrificing the blood of a virgin.
Yeah, that comes too. So bring all your children.
So did you dyno the difference between other oils at the same percentages too, as you did L111? And do you know the flash point of what L111 is?
Oh, the flashpoint question. That is one of those. That's one of those buzzwords that people like to use, and it really is getting lost in the minutia on the whole thing. So let's talk about the research that we did. Andy Duvall and myself actually spent 3 days together in my shop, and yes, we tried a bunch of different oils at a bunch of different mix ratios. And I know some people in the comment section were like, oh, well, it's just getting leaner. Oh, okay. I've been tuning stuff, guys, for 40 years. That's the first thing I learned how to do. And my dyno is, well, I'm just going to say it. My dyno's the best in the industry when it comes to ATV stuff. Somebody else wants to sport 17 sensors on their dyno so they know everything that's going on with the motor. Well, you can show me yours and I'll show you mine, okay? But we were able to prove undeniably, unequivocally, that the L111 mixed at the ratio that we're using it at made more power, had way better wear, and it's not just dyno testing. The team has been on L111 now for 2 years. If you run one of my motors, you're going to run what I say you're going to run. If you don't want to, then ride for somebody else. I don't care. So we have a ton of actual use on the thing, so that we can see how much horsepower, or actually how much wear we're getting. And horsepower is not a big thing. I mean, we win races all the time, but the wear is what I'm looking at too. And until something else better comes along, L111 is our go-to oil.
So Steve Ravely wants to know, what I don't get is one expansion chamber for a 2-cylinder motor. Seems to me there would be a lot of confusion inside the chamber with the 2 cylinders firing at different times.
Oh, that's okay. That's going to be a Banshee question. Banshee's the Motofast pipe was a 2-into-1 pipe, and that's not even in my wheelhouse anymore. I don't do anything with Banshees.